Golf might look calm on the surface, lush fairways, polite claps, whispering commentators. But beneath that quiet exterior, absolute chaos. From pros losing everything over a technicality to legends getting banned for scandals, the rulebook has taken down more stars than sand traps ever could. These are the 10 most unbelievable golf disqualifications in history. And trust me, the last one? It'll leave your jaw on the floor. Let's start with the dream that a single hot dog managed to destroy. The hot dog that ended a dream. Imagine playing the round of your life, beating the odds, shocking everyone, only to get disqualified by a hot dog. That's exactly what happened to Nick Barrett, a 31-year-old UPS driver chasing his US Open dream. Barrett wasn't flying in on private jets. He wasn't a country club prodigy with sponsors waiting in the wings. He was a regular guy with a day job, grinding away on municipal courses, hoping that maybe, just maybe, he could step into the big leagues. After years of trying, Barrett finally put it all together. He sailed through local qualifying with a jaw-dropping 68, stunning everyone. That wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to even get this far. But that wasn't the only time a simple mistake crushed a dream. Jordan Spieth's bathroom break disaster. Jordan Spieth isn't a stranger to pressure. He's a Masters champion, a golden child of American golf. But at the Genesis Invitational, it wasn't his swing that betrayed him. It was his scorecard. After a rough round, Spieth did what any human would do. He bolted for the bathroom. In the chaos, he signed his scorecard without realizing he'd made a devastating mistake. He wrote down a 3 on a hole where he'd actually scored a 4. Just one wrong digit. But golf's rulebook is unforgiving. At the time, signing for a lower score meant automatic disqualification. No warning, no appeals, no, hey, he just needed to pee. The rules didn't care about context. Spieth was out. The PGA Tour finally amended the rule, giving players a short grace period to correct mistakes, even after leaving the scoring area. Losing to a wrong number is bad. Imagine losing because your own caddy broke the rules. Caddy chaos at St. Andrews. Sometimes it's not the player who makes the fatal mistake, it's the caddy. Just ask Anna Pelaia Trevino, whose AIG Women's Open at the Old Course ended in heartbreak. Trevino was playing steady golf at St. Andrews, holding her own against the toughest field of the year. She had a real chance to make the cut and put her name on the leaderboard. But then her caddy pulled out a rangefinder. At most LPGA events, that's fine, totally legal. But not here. At this major, distance measuring devices are strictly banned. The first offense cost her 2 strokes. Painful, yes, but still survivable. But then, unbelievably, he did it again. On the 18th hole, no less. And that was it. Second strike meant automatic disqualification. Anna's week was over, not because of her swing, not because of nerves, but because of a mistake she didn't even make herself. Golf is a cruel enough game without your own caddy sinking the ship. And speaking of cruel, sometimes players don't even need help. The wrong ball blunder. Golf has one of the simplest rules: play your own ball. Ben Crane forgot. At the Corrales Punta Cana Championship, Crane was cruising. He'd just birdied the 7th hole and was finally finding rhythm. But then disaster struck. He walked up, swung, and flushed a shot that wasn't even his. It belonged to his playing partner, David Lipsky. The blunder was bad enough, but Crane made it worse. Instead of correcting it right away, he teed off on the 9th hole. At that point, there was no saving him. Automatic disqualification, no tantrum, no excuses. Crane took it on the chin. But the irony? This wasn't a rookie mistake. Crane is a 5-time PGA Tour winner, a guy with decades of experience. While Crane's mistake was mental, Hideki Matsuyama's came from something much stranger. Hideki's white paint nightmare. Hideki Matsuyama is the picture of composure, a Masters champion, a fan favorite. But at the Memorial, he was disqualified for something so bizarre it almost sounds made up: white paint. On just his second hole, officials pulled him aside. His 3-wood had been doctored by his equipment rep, who'd applied a dab of correction fluid to help with alignment. Nothing sinister, no advantage gained, but according to the rulebook, the amount made the club non-conforming. That was enough. Even though Hideki had hit only one shot with it, his opening tee ball, he was immediately disqualified. Padraig Harrington lost while leading by 5 strokes, all because of a missing signature. Padraig Harrington's missing autograph. Padraig Harrington was running away with the Benson and Hedges International Open in 2000. After 3 rounds, he led by 5. Victory seemed inevitable. But then came a nightmare straight out of golf's most brutal what-if stories. Back in round 1, Harrington had submitted a scorecard signed by 2 people, neither of them himself. Somehow, amidst the post-round chaos, he'd missed his own signature. Officials caught the error 3 days later, and that was it. Automatic disqualification. The man who was dominating the field didn't even get to tee it up on Sunday, not because of a bad swing, not because of a collapse, but because of a missing autograph. Golf doesn't care how good you are. Forget one signature and it's game over. But Harrington's missing signature wasn't the only paperwork nightmare. Michelle Wie's first paycheck, gone. At 16, Michelle Wie was on the brink of history. She wasn't just another rookie, she was a phenom. Fans and media were calling her the future of the women's game. At the Samsung World Championship, she was about to cash her first pro paycheck, $53,000. But then Sports Illustrated's Michael Bamberger noticed something odd about a drop Wie had taken during her round. Officials remeasured the spot and determined her ball was about a foot closer to the hole than allowed. By the letter of the law, it was an incorrect drop. Because she signed her card without the penalty, she was disqualified. Just like that, her first paycheck disappeared. For Wie, it was more than money. It was a brutal lesson that in golf, reputation can swing as quickly as a driver. Instead of making headlines for her talent, she made them for a technicality. And while Wie's mistake cost her a paycheck, Jane Blaylock's scandal nearly cost her career. Jane Blaylock versus everyone. Jane Blaylock was the LPGA's top money winner in the early 1970s. She was the star of the women's game. But then came the scandal that nearly ended her career. 27 players, yes, 27, signed affidavits accusing her of improving her lies and improperly marking her ball. No video, no photos, just sworn testimony. And the LPGA dropped the hammer, a 1-year suspension and frozen earnings. Blaylock denied everything. She fought back in court, eventually winning partial legal victories. But the damage was done. She wasn't just banned, she was ostracized. When nearly 30 of your peers turn against you, it's not just about the rules, it's about your place in the community. Of course, nothing grabs headlines like when it happens to a fan favorite in the middle of the PGA Tour. Vijay Singh's career on the brink. Before the Green Jackets, before the millions, Vijay Singh almost lost it all on the Asian Tour. In the 1980s, Singh was accused of golf's deadliest sin, scorecard tampering. Officials claimed he marked 1 under when he'd actually shot 1 over, a 2-shot swing that meant the difference between making the cut or missing it. Singh denied it, but the tour wasn't convinced. He was banned, with no chance to appeal. For most players, that would have been the end. Career over before it even began. But Singh didn't quit. He clawed his way back, grinding on smaller tours, eventually breaking into the PGA Tour, where he became one of the greats. Singh fought back to become one of the greats, but Stadler proved sometimes a towel can ruin it all. Craig Stadler and the infamous towel. 1987 San Diego Open. Craig Stadler, better known as the Walrus, was in the hunt when disaster struck. On the 14th hole, his ball came to rest under a tree. To hit his next shot, he needed to kneel. The ground was wet, so he did what any of us would do. He put down a towel to keep his pants clean. but a TV viewer called it in. Officials reviewed the footage and ruled it violated Rule 13-3, building a stance. Because Stadler hadn't added the two-stroke penalty before signing his scorecard, he was disqualified. The ruling cost him second place, $37,000 in prize money, and a piece of his legacy. All because of a towel. It remains one of the most infamous disqualifications in golf history, a story told and retold as the ultimate example of golf's ruthless rulebook. And that's the wild part about golf. You can hit every fairway, drain every putt, and still lose it all over a towel, a hot dog, or a missing autograph. Which one shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you love stories like these, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because trust me, we've barely scratched the surface of golf's craziest scandals.